Hare Krishna. So, as today we have the auspicious appearance day of Lord Vamanadev, and also the auspicious appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami. We'll focus on these two personalities. As far as I understand, this evening there will also be some more Vamana Katha, but that's not a problem, because when we hear Krishna Katha, it is unlimited and ever fresh, so it's not about getting entertained. Oh, I've already heard this story, why should I go to class? It's not about learning about the story, but it's about Krishna Katha, which is also a form of service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sopmaranam. So when we actually hear about Krishna and someone is speaking about Krishna, that's a part of devotional service. And it's more about glorifying the Lord and also purifying the heart than getting entertained. So that therefore, even that we talk in the evening, we can talk also now. And I'll read a text from the 8th canto. I'll just read it and then, so that we can hear something from Prabhupada also. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yavanto Vishaya Preshtas Trilokyam Achintendriyam Nasaknavanti Tai Sarve Pratipayutam Niripaham. This is 8:19:21, and Vamanadev speaks to Bali. Bali Maharaj offered him whatever he wants, and Vamanadev replied as follows. And of course I will give a little bit the background of the story, but I just first read this text. Let me see, this is in Bhagavatam 8:19-21. Yeah. The personality of God had said, "O my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there might be within the three worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled." Purport. The material world is an illusory energy to deviate the living entities from the path of self-realization. Anyone who is in this material world is extremely anxious to get more and more things for sense gratification. Actually, however, the purpose of life is not sense gratification, but self-realization. Therefore, those who are too addicted to sense gratification are advised to practice the mystic yoga system, or Astanga yoga system, consisting of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, and so on. In this way one can control the senses. The purpose of controlling the senses is to stop one's implication in the cycle of birth and death, as stated by Rishabdev. Nunam pramate kurute vikarma yad indriya pritayam aprinoti nasadu manyata atmanoyam asan apikleshada ashadeha. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activities. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body, which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken any material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification, by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after the other. Bhagavatam 5:5-4. Thus, according to Rishabdev, the human beings in this material world are just like madmen, engaged in activities which they should not perform, but which they do perform only for sense gratification. Such activities are not good because in this way one creates another body for next life, as punishment for his nefarious activities. And as soon as he gets another material body, he is put into repeated suffering in material existence. Therefore, the Vedic culture or Brahminical culture teaches one how to be satisfied with possessing the minimum necessities in life. To teach this highest culture, Varnashram Dharma is recommended. The aim of the Varnashram division, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Prasna and Sannyas, is to train one to control the senses and be content with the bare necessities. Here Lord Vamadev, as an ideal brahmachari, refuses Bali Maharaj's offer to give him anything he might want. He says that without contentment, one could not be happy, even if he possessed the property of the entire world or the entire universe. In human society, therefore, the Brahminical culture, Kshatriya culture and Vaishya culture must be maintained, and people must be taught how to be satisfied with only what they need. In modern civilization, there is no such education. Everyone tries to possess more and more, and everyone is dissatisfied and unhappy. The Krishna conscious movement is therefore establishing various forums, especially in America, to show how to be happy and content with minimum necessities of life, and to save time for self-realization, which one can very easily achieve by chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gadanjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Bhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyatyati Shatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Again the text, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Yavanto Vishaya Preshtas Trilokyam Achitendriyam Na Shaknuvanti Te Sarve Pratipurya Itum Dripa. Personality of God had said, O my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there might be within the three worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. So even everything that exists, if even someone possesses everything that exists, still he cannot be satisfied if his senses are uncontrolled. That's the point. And there's quite a lot in the universe, no? You mentioned you have everything. You have all the wealth that exists. You have everything belongs to you. That would be amazing. But still, you cannot be satisfied if the senses are uncontrolled. So that's the core message that Lord Vamadev gives to us, and especially nowadays, in this age of Kali, I guess this particular teaching of Vamadev is very relevant for us. So we'll talk a bit more about this, and of course Prabhupada already gave a beautiful purport explaining everything. I'll just give a little bit the circumstances under which Vamanadev appears, and then we go back to this shloka and talk about this point. Yeah. So on the Shravana Dvadashi, the Lord appears in a beautiful four-handed form, and then later transforms into a dwarf Brahman boy. And all the residents of the universe celebrated the auspicious event. So it's described in the Bhagavatam. This is in the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam, the 18th chapter. So it was on this Dvadashi. Dvadashi is the day after Ekadashi, the 12th day. Ekadashi is the 11th. And then this is originally called Shravan Dwadashi, but because the Lord appeared, now it's called Vamana Dwadashi. And it's on this day when the Lord appeared in this form, and it's also known as the dwarf incarnation of the Lord. Dwarf incarnation, which is interesting. Zwerg, eine Zwerg-Inkarnation. And Dasa Stotra, no? In the famous song about the 10 avatars, we find descriptions there. Yeah, Jayadev Goswami Dasa Stotra. Let me see here. Vamanarupa. Okay, this is, I mean, one of these shlokas we know. Which shloka do we chant every day from the Dasavatar Stotra? Tavakara Kamalavari Nakamad Buddha Shringa. That's from this song. But this song describes all 10 avatars. That's this description of Narasinghadev. And then we have also another one, which is about Vamana. This is text 5. Just the next one. Chala Yasi Vikramani Bali Adbhuta Vamana Patanakar Nirachani Tajana Bhavavana Keshavadrita Vamana Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Vamanarupa. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who has assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmana, all glories to you, O wonderful dwarf. By your massive steps you deceived King Bali, and by the Ganges water that has emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this world. So this is a summary of the Vamana Lila. And actually Vamana is quite a significant incarnation. We understand that Ram and Nrsimha are most important avatars, as they are in some way Jiva Goswami explains that they are non-different from Krishna. Of course all the avatars are non-different from Krishna, but in some way they are expansions. But Ram and Nrsimha are not in the same category. But from the other avatars, Vamana is very significant for different reasons. One which is described here, that he also was the cause to bring Mother Ganga into this world, which is very significant. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita we find description of Chaitanya Bhagavat that Mahaprabhu says that the Lord, in the age of Kali, the Lord appears in two forms in this world. He appears as wood and as water. And what is wood? Jagannath. Lord Jagannath. The Lord appears in the form of wood as Lord Jagannath, and also he appears in the form of water in the form of Mother Ganga. In both of these forms the Lord delivers the conditioned souls in the age of Kali. By these two forms are also manifestations of the Lord, and they are meant to deliver the fallen people. And of course the Lord appears as the holy name, the Lord appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord appears as the Archa Vigraha. But in that particular shlok, water and wood is described, just to show that Ganges actually is in some way also not different from the Lord. And it's meant especially for Kali Yuga. So and the Vamana was the form of Vishnu that brought, there's different ways how Ganga was brought into this world, different stories, but one way to explain is by the piercing of the toenails. The toenails of the Lord pierced the covering of the universe, and then Ganges water came. So, but on this day, Vamana appeared, and he appeared first as a four-handed Vishnu form, just to make clear that, okay, I'm Vishnu. No. Even Krishna appears first as four-handed. You know, when Devaki and Vasudeva received Krishna in the prison of Kamsa, the Lord also first appears in a four-handed form. So, Vishnu. But then, and the Lord then turned or manifested into a dwarf Brahman boy. Like a small Brahman, like a dwarf, like a Zwerg, dwarf size. And then it's described in the Bhagavatam that when it was time for the Upanayam ceremony, then all the devas came to give benedictions. What is the Upanayam ceremony? It's the Brahman Dread ceremony. And in ISKCON, Brahman Dread you receive from the Guru in a second initiation, right? But traditionally in Vedic culture, boys would receive that dread by their family priest already at a young age. Yeah. Upanayam actually means the act of leading, which brings you closer. It brings you closer to whom? To the Vedas, the scriptures, because once you get the Upanayam thread, the Brahman thread, then you are allowed to study the Vedas, the scriptures. You come closer to the scripture, you come closer to Krishna. And also it means you come closer to the teacher. It connects you closer to the teacher. That's the significance of the Brahman thread. And in Vedic culture, typically at the age of 8, the Brahmanas at the age of 8, they received Brahman, the Kshatriyas at the age of 11, and the Vaishyas at the age of 12. So that sacred thread ceremony was very pompous, or in great opulence was celebrated, and it's described that the sun god personally came, Surya, and he chanted the Gayatri mantra, Savitri. He was the one who gave the Gayatri mantra to Vamana. Then Brihaspati, the guru of all the devas, he was the one who brought the Brahman Sutram, sacred thread. Kasyapa Muni, the father, of course, he gave that straw belt, little belt, straw belt. If you look closer, I guess you saw that Lord Jagannath looks a bit different today. He has this umbrella. He also has a deer skin, and he has a straw belt also, and a Brahman thread, and a Rudraksha. So the deer skin was given by Mother Bhumi, the earth. Then the Brahmadanda is the stick. You also see the stick. The stick was given by Soma. And Aditi gave the kopin. What is a kopin?
Underpants.
Underpants, yes. The underpants for the yogis. Nowadays it's not so much fashion anymore. Not many devotees still wear it. But actually it's recommended. And it's this, in traditional Vedic culture, at the time of initiation, when one becomes a brahmachari, takes vows of celibacy, then one receives the cloth for the kopin by the guru, and then the guru chants mantras, it's Vedic mantras, and by the power of the Vedic mantras, actually it says that the devas, they reside in the kopin, and they protect. They protect, they are there to protect. It's a sacred item. Anyway, nowadays devotees prefer to buy a Tommy Hilfiger, or what it's called. So in pants you pay 50 Swiss francs. But yeah, that's actually the kopin. It's a very nice the yogi underwear. So this was given by Aditi. Then there is the umbrella. This is not for rain, but that's for the sun, to protect from the sun. That was given by the heavenly deity, Svarga, the personification of Svarga Loka. Then the 7 rishis, the Sapta rishis, they gave kusha grass Kusha grass is a very auspicious grass which is used in all Vedic ceremonies. So a couple of weeks ago I had the good fortune to stay at the house of some Sri Vaishnava Brahmins. I was in Geneva for an event and I stayed at the house of some Sri Vaishnava Brahmanas, and you can't imagine how, they are not ISKCON devotees, okay? But they are Vaishnavas and they are worshipping Lord Vishnu. They are they're Brahmanas, and they have two daughters and husband and wife. And the wife gets up every morning at 3 o'clock because she wants to participate in a Zoom meeting where they chant Vedic mantras. Then she chants for an hour Vedic mantras on Zoom, and then from 4 to about 6 o'clock she continues to chant Vedic mantras the whole morning. And even at 6 o'clock then she starts to cook, and even while cooking she still chants Vedic mantras. And the husband, he gets up a little later, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, and then he does the puja for the Lakshmi Nrsimha Murti that they have. They have a big altar, separate room. This room is only altar room, huge altar, different murtis. Main murti is Lakshmi Nrsimha, and then there's like a 1 hour puja, and he just chants many mantras. So it's quite inspiring to see. And then the daughters, they come towards the end of the puja, they come with folded hand, they also chant mantras, pay obeisance, repeatedly fall down, and then they go for their studies. Very pious family. And why I tell the story, because I could see the Brahmana, he has a kusha ring, kusha grass ring. Kusha is like dry grass, like straw, and then this is rolled around the finger like a ring. So every time when he does puja, he takes that kusha ring, kusha grass on his finger, and then only he performs puja. No puja without the kusha grass, because it's very auspicious kusha. We don't have that here. Or you have a kusha grass ring while puja? No. In Gaudiya Vaishnava we follow a bit different Pancharadrika system, but there in South India this is very important. Anyhow, so that grass was given by the 7 rishis. Then Saraswati gave the string of Rudraksha's beads, this Rudraksha, specific seed, kind of, usually the worshipper of Shiva have this. Kuvera gave the pot for begging, and Parvati, the wife of Shiva, she gave the first alms, Bhiksha. So in this way they celebrated Lord Vamana's thread ceremony. And of course then we find a description how Vamana enters Bali Maharaj's sacrificial arena. Bali was the king of the demons, the demon dynasty, and he was the emperor of the whole universe, and he was very proud. He was very proud of what? Giving charity. Because he had so much, he was generous, he gave a lot, but he was proud of it. It's interesting, you could say, well, someone who gives charity is a very pious person. Yes, he did good, but he took so much pride in giving. I have so much. Anyone can ask me anything, I can give it, and it doesn't bother me because I have so much. I can just give. So that pride was there. So, and Vamana wanted to crush that pride. So that's why Vamana came there. It's described when he came. Everyone was impressed by this little boy, little brahmachari walking into this assembly. They did a sacrifice. So he came in, and everyone was like astonished. Who is that little boy? So much effulgent, shining like the sun. And Bali, Maharaj could recognize this great personality, a brahmana. So they immediately Bali arranged for publicly greeting the brahmana and washing the feet of Vamanadev. And then he took the water that was washing the feet, and then he sprinkled the water on his head. That is custom, if a brahmana comes to your house, you wash the feet, you worship him, and then you put the water and drop it on your head and your family members. And it's described by, I think, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here that, of course, first of all, that water of Vamana is, it's the Charanamrita of Vishnu. It's super powerful, cleans you from all sins, makes you immortal. It's the most powerful thing you can get, the feet-washing water of Vishnu. And it's not different from Ganga, because Ganges water, why is Ganges water so special? Also because Ganges touching the feet of Vishnu. And it's described here that Shiva is one of the great Mahajans, and Shiva always holds Ganges on her head. So Bali, who later on also became a great Mahajan, follows another Mahajans and also puts the water that was washed of Vishnu on his head. So in this way, one Mahajan follows the other Mahajan, and that's the Parampara system. By following the Mahajans, by following the Parampara system, one becomes advanced in spiritual life. And after that welcome of Bali Maharaj, then they had a conversation, words of welcome and appreciation, and then Bali finally asked him, so please, now you ask for any benediction. You can have anything you want, please take. And then when Vamana said, no, I'm just a brahmachari. What a brahmachari needs, like a brahmachari only needs 3 steps. And why 3 steps? Just as much to lay down at night, to sleep. I don't need more. And that's actually brahmacharya life. Here in the West we don't see so much. Here in the West brahmacharya is quite different. Like take myself. I live up there in the tower, a nice room. The other day, Bhakta Niklas was asking me, what is this fancy notebook you have there? Taking notes on a digital tablet. Brahmacharya is a bit different. Traditional brahmacharya. You don't have much, Of course, compared to most of the people here in Switzerland, I also don't have so much, I must say. I have my electronic devices, which I need for my service, and I have books. I have many books. I think I have about 800 books or so in my room. Whole library. Yeah, I have a lot of books. I admit. And then I have a bunch of orange clothes, some dhotis. But that's basically what I have. Books, dhotis, and some devices. And usually people have so many things, so okay. But still, if you go to India, and I happen to spend, altogether about 3 years living in India, and especially the first year I lived traditionally in an ashram. My first year in Krishna consciousness, I lived in an ashram in India, and I lived a very traditional brahmachari life. I stayed in one room. There were 2 other people in the same room. And we had beds, but the beds didn't have mattresses. There was just a wooden bed, and there was a straw, like such a thin straw mat. That's all, and a mosquito net. There were no chairs, there were no tables. And I remember when after this 1 year of Orissa, when I came back and the first time I sat in a chair, I was like, oh my God, I'm sitting in a chair. That's amazing. Because for a whole year, I didn't sit in a chair, because you just always sit on the floor. And if you need a table, you sit on the floor and use your bed as a table to write. And every day I washed my own clothes. There was no washing machine, so you just have your dhoti, and then have 2 sets of dhoti, maybe 3 sets, maybe. And then every morning, hand wash your dhoti, hang it, and then take it up in the evening. And you're engaged in the sadhana every morning, full program. Then there's service. I was helping in the kitchen. And washing pots with not with soap and sponge, but by taking some, like if you peel a coconut, you get this hair of a coconut, and you take a little sand or ashes, and with the ashes and that coconut peel, I washed the pots. A very simple lifestyle. And then in the afternoon you have a little time for, chanting your rounds and to do some study, reading the scriptures, and evening Gaura Arati every evening. And then early bed. So that was a very nice lifestyle. And I could also see the other brahmacharis, the local brahmacharis. I also have been traveling in India, saw some other ashrams, like if you go to Jopati, You have an ashram with 150 brahmacharis. Okay, maybe half of them are traveling or doing some preaching, but still you find about 80 brahmacharis in the temple. And how do you accommodate 80 people in a little building? Well, they don't have their rooms. There is one room which they have lockers, and another room which is a place to sleep, and mostly they sleep just anywhere, like on the veranda. Temple room is also used for sleeping. That means every brahmachari has a little locker, there's a kind of skreschen, and inside this locker there is the toothpaste and how is it, just their muchi box, whatever they need for cleaning, some 2-3 dhotis, what else? I don't know, tilak, mirror, maybe some books, something to take notes, and that's maybe a chadar when it gets a little fresh, and that's about what you have. Maybe some. Yeah. So and then when it comes to the evening, then you just take your yoga mat or whatever you have, straw mat, and then you just go to the temple room, lay down somewhere, and then that's it. So then you have no privacy. You don't have your room, your corner where you actually take a little rest. No, it's just somewhere. That's brahmachari life in a traditional way. That's why I'm saying here in the West it's a little different. But that's why Vamana said, I'm a brahmachari, I only need 3 steps. So you give me 3 steps of land so I can lay down there peacefully, and I don't need more. But Bali's reaction, Bali becomes quite upset. He said, well, what is this? I am the king of the whole, of the universe. So someone who comes to me and asks from me should never have to ask anyone else. No? Once you have come to me, I give you so much that for the rest of your life, all your needs are covered. That's the standard, you shouldn't ask anyone else afterwards. So please ask for more. And then when Bali asked, please ask for more, then Vamana quoted this shloka that we read in the beginning. Yavantu vishaya preshtas trilokyam achindrindriyam nas. Just got out of the melody. But, oh my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. So even if, you ask me for more, I ask for 3 steps and I'm happy with that. But you're asking me for more, but what's the use of more? Even if someone has everything, as long as the senses are uncontrolled, will not be satisfied. That's why better have a little and control the senses, and then you're happy. Because happiness comes from controlled senses and not from possessing stuff. And that's why this is such an important message for the world today, because look at the modern civilization. It's all about possessing stuff, and all the time new stuff and new and new. And it's not necessary stuff also. Prabhupada says that's why we teach the world to live with the bare necessities. If you went on a marketplace 150 years ago or 100 years ago, maybe most probably 50 years ago, 100 years ago, most probably 80-90%, 95% of the stuff that you could buy there was needed. Clothing, food, some tools, some stuff that you need to live for, and then maybe 5% was luxury. Something, something you can buy for your pleasing your wife or for the children, to some toy or something. But nowadays, if you go on a market or you go to some supermarket, or you find it's the opposite. You find 75-80% of luxury, and something that you actually need. It's like, and people are so anxious, as Prabhupada says in the purport, so anxious to possess more and more and more. The consumption of people is just like crazy. I don't know if you have seen, in America they have this Black Friday. I mean, they also have introduced it now here. But in America, I don't know if you have seen videos or pictures of this. This is crazy. I mean, when I saw it the first time, I couldn't believe it. I thought this is a movie or this is kind of makeup, but that's actually reality. I couldn't believe it. This is completely isn't it? It's completely mad.
Yeah.
They have these big shopping malls, and then on the morning when this Black Friday starts, they open the door, and hundreds of people running inside. They run inside, and then they kind of and they catch these huge televisions and the big computer and stuff they buy, and they run to buy it. It's mad, just because it's a little cheaper than the other days. It's crazy, and people buy stuff, especially in America. It's completely crazy. People they rent storehouses to just keep the stuff that they bought. They buy so many things, they don't have enough place in their house, and they got a store and just put all the stuff in what they buy. And people are miserable, actually. They possess so much, but they're inside. They feel completely empty. And there is many rich people you talk to, a rich person, someone who is really rich, but they feel miserable, and their relationships are breaking up. Their wife tells him, I don't need your jewelries. I need your association. And the kids also, and I don't need your toys. I need you. I want to spend time with you. But people have no time because they're busy working, making money. So they buy stuff, but they're not giving their time and energy to their beloved ones. So in this way, it's a completely crazy situation. And Prabhupada says, quotes Rishabdev here also from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Nunam pramate kurute karma. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living. And that's, Bhagavatam has already told 5,000 years ago, and now we're about, this has become reality. People are completely mad after materialistic living. Everyone is running after just, buying stuff to gratify their senses. No clue that you can actually be happy with less. But it's interesting, nowadays also there is more and more, there is a kind of a trend, or some people start to realize that, that doesn't make sense. And people turn back to a more simple lifestyle. That's also there. Now you have these people, they live in tiny houses. Has become quite a culture. People purposely want to live in a small house. Why? Because it just feels better to not have so much stuff, Or then there's this minimalist, how they call them minimalist. I saw once I saw like a short video on a person. He only possesses 64 items. Like on a bed he can put out all the items that he possesses. They're all black. He has like black shirt, black pullover, black, and then whatever he has is black, and he only has 64 items, and he knows exactly what he has, a small bag, and with that he travels around the world, and he doesn't have anything else. Of course, most probably he has a big bank account with a lot of money, but he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a house, he doesn't have furniture. All his belonging, like physical, material belonging that he has, is in one little bag. That's kind of impressive, It's interesting. And a person just feels like, I don't want to have stuff, because I feel it's kind of it gives me more freedom if I don't have much. So that's also there. There is people there. There is many also. You can find many books, also written sometimes by monks. Zen Buddhist monks, they write books about how to clean up your house. There's workshops you can take. How to, also from the Feng Shui or Vastu perspective, if you clean up your room, it helps you to get more peace in your mind. And we understand this is Sattva Guna, like if your room, if you have a lot of stuff there and it's everything is kind of chaotic and dirty, then this tamagun will be very much influencing. But if you clean up your room, if you have always a clean room and you don't have much stuff laying around, then that creates a very sattvic atmosphere. So anyhow, that's what the Vamanadev is teaching us, that we should learn to find happiness not in the outside but in the inside. If we develop our Krishna consciousness, then if you develop your relationship with Krishna, then you're satisfied in all circumstances, in any moment, any situation, and you're not dependent on any external situation. Whether I have a flat or don't have a flat, whether I possess something or I don't possess anything, whether I'm here or I'm there, whether I'm with this people or that people, it doesn't matter. You're just satisfied because you're Krishna conscious. That's such a wealth, actually, such a freedom. You are just satisfied because you're with Krishna, and you're completely detached from the external circumstances. And of course, we surround us in circumstances which are beneficial and good for our Krishna consciousness, that support, and we want to do some service. But at the end of the day, we are not dependent on any externals. Someone can take you out and put you somewhere else, and you're still fine. Because at the end of the day, it's all about. The Prabhupada made the point, at the end of the day, the only business that we have is Krishna consciousness. The only business that we have is to develop our relationship with Krishna. That's the only business, the only thing we need to do in this world. Everything else is secondary. Yes, we might have our family, our partnership, maybe we have our career, we do some work, we have to earn money. Yeah, that's all there. Maybe we have our hobbies, our ambitions, what we want to achieve in life. But in some way that's all not so important. Because at the end of the day, it's only about developing our relationship with Krishna. And this is what Vamana teaches us by saying that, become sober, learn to control your senses, learn to find happiness within, and then you will be satisfied. And you don't need anything else. Vamana Devi Jai, Hare Krishna. And our time is almost up, but we also have Srila Goswami. Srila Goswami's appearance day, my God. Okay, let's see, we can cover 7 minutes for Srila Goswami. Actually, it's very important principle when we have these appearance and disappearance days, that we actually remember and glorify the Vaishnavas. Not doing so, in some way, it's an offense. You have to glorify. You have to remember the Vaishnavas on these days. I don't care. No, we should take a little time to hear about them, and read about them, because we depend on the mercy of these great personalities. So Jiva Goswami, of course, one amongst the 6 Goswamis, the direct disciples and followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Jiva Goswami was the youngest amongst the Goswamis, and with great, clearly the youngest. And he also was not a direct disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but actually disciple of, I believe, Rupa Goswami. So when Jiva Goswami was born in 1512, Rupa and Sanatana were already 23 and 24 years old. Because Jiva Goswami was the son of Anupama, and Anupama was the brother of Jiva the brother of Sanatana and Rupa Goswami. There were 3 brothers, Sanatana, Rupa and Anupama. And of course, Sanatana and Rupa, they didn't have any children, but Anupama had a child, and that child later became Jiva Goswami, known as Jiva Goswami. And it's described when actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the village called Ramakeli, where he met Sanatana and Rupa Goswami. And at that time, Jiva was a small baby or small child only. But he got the darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Jiva was very blissful looking at Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu made a comment to Rupa and Sanatana. He said, in the future, once you leave this world, this little boy, he will continue your work. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had recognized this child, that child will be actually a great Acharya, great Vaishnava. So when Jiva Goswami grew up, all his bodily features that he showed the symptom of a Mahapurusha. Mahapurusha means like a divine personality. There are certain symptoms that show that someone is a great person, like wide lotus eyes, raised nose, forehead, conch-like neck, broad shoulders, chest, hands reaching to his knees, and glowing effulgence, like the aura. The other day we heard about effulgence, so he had a great effulgence. And he was, during the schooling time, he was studying scriptures with great enthusiasm and mastered logic, poetry, and grammar. And from his childhood on, he worshipped the deity forms of Krishna and Balaram, fully understanding that Krishna and Balaram had actually appeared, and they were on the planet as Gaur-Nitai, Chaitanya Nityananda. So he worshipped them in this mood. So actually the father of Jiva Goswami died very early when he was still a small boy, and then the mother also passed away when he was only 20 years old. He was very young, the mother died. So that, of course, he was very grieved by this passing of the mother, and that moved him towards renunciation. And so he decided to follow the path of his uncles, Rupa and Sanatan. So Rupa and Sanatan, by that time, they already had gone to Vrindavan and lived as simple sadhus, writing shastras and doing bhajan. So Jiva Goswami wanted to join them in Vrindavan, but before doing so, he first visited Navadvip to receive the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. So he went to Navadvip, he took shelter of Nityananda, offered obeisance to Nityananda and told him, I know you're no one else than Balaram. I've worshipped you my whole childhood, and you have appeared as Balaram, as Nityananda. Please shower your mercy. Then Nityananda blessed him, and Nityananda took Jiva Goswami all around the 9 islands of Navadvip. They did a parikram. So Jiva got the mercy of all the Vaishnavas in Navadvip, and then he instructed him, now you should go to Benares, to Varanasi, and there you should continue your study in grammar and Sanskrit. So then Jiva went to Benares, and there he learned from a leading professor. Actually, this professor was a disciple of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, which was a great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So he learned under that professor in Benares, and then became a very well-known scholar in philosophy. When he completed the study, then, on the order of Nityananda, he went to Vrindavan. And upon arrival in Vrindavan, then he joined the other 5 Goswamis who were already there, amongst his uncles Rupa and Sanatan. So first he took shelter of Sanatan Goswami, his uncle, asking him to become a disciple. But then, out of humility, Sanatan advised him to approach Rupa, and then Rupa accepted Jiva. But first he tested Jiva Goswami. He had to undergo a lot of menial service, begging alms for him, preparing food, collecting leaves for writing, massaging the feet of Rupa Goswami. And so the selfless dedication of Jiva was very pleasing, and Rupa Goswami was satisfied, and then formally initiated him in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this way, Jiva lived together with the other Goswamis in Vrindavan. Maybe I can tell one story, then we end, because time is already up. There was a great famous Pandit with the name Rupa Narayan. And Rupa Narayan was a Digvijay Pandit. What is a Digvijay Pandit?
Those who take this word.
They take pleasure in defeating others. Yeah, Digvijay.
Panta, that Digvijay. Vijay.
It's always victorious.
Dig means directions, north, south.
Yeah, in all directions.
He can
defeat everyone.
defeat him.
Yeah, it's a title. It's a title for the best of all professors. You know, even here in the Zurich you have universities with professors, and some will be the most senior professors, right? But this Digvijay was the one who claimed to be the greatest philosopher, scholar all over India. So, and in order to prove that, he was traveling all over and challenging all the great philosophers. I've never observed or seen that, but there was a certain way of philosophical debate. The two scholars sitting for days, sometimes sitting with each other, and then one puts an argument and the other has to defeat the argument, and the next puts an argument, the other has to defeat the argument, based on Shastra and on grammar and Sanskrit, and then with the audience. And when one scholar actually couldn't answer the questions or the challenge anymore, then he was considered to be defeated, right? And they had sometimes days of discussions because they were all great scholars. So then this Rupa Narayan, he heard about the glories of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, and he said, okay, they are the greatest scholars in north of India, so I go there to Vrindavan and I will challenge them, and then I become the greatest all over India. So when he approached Rupa and Sanatana, you know, what was their mood? And it's very interesting. They felt like, no, he's such a puffed up fellow, such a pride fellow. You know, such pride in his scholarship. This is bad association, actually. No, we are pure Vaishnavas engaging in devotional service. We are not interested in this debate just for honor and fame, pratishta, basically. Pratishta is considered to be pratishta is compared to a prostitute and the dog-eating prostitute, or also the desire for this pratishta is compared to donkey urine. It's something very abominable. No, the desire to be famous. I want to be famous. People should recognize me. This is a subtle form of sex, actually, sex desire that should be given up. And so Sanatana and Rupa were not interested in debating with him. So when he came, they said, yeah. We are very unqualified. You're such a great scholar. So you must be better than me. There's no doubt about that. He was, okay, you don't even want to debate with me? No. We can understand that you're greater. Then you have to sign a certificate. Oh, sure, we sign your certificate. So they, very detached, signed the certificate. And then he went away. And you see, I defeated the greatest scholar in North India, even without speaking to them. They just immediately surrendered just by seeing my effulgence. But it shows actually the greatness of Rupa and Sanatana. They were not interested in fame. No, usually we were quite concerned about our reputation, what people think about us. But they were not at all interested in it. So I personally find it very impressive. So, but then what happened? Jiva Goswami heard about this, and then he challenged the scholar. Listen, I'm only the disciple of these. And don't dare to speak so bad about my teachers. I will prove that my teachers are greater than you, because I'm simply a disciple, but I will defeat you. And then there was several days of debate between that Rupa Narayan and Jiva Goswami. And actually Jiva Goswami defeated him. And then that Rupa Narayan was very humbled and very embarrassed, left Vrindavan. And in this way, the glories of Rupa and Sanatana were re-established again in the Vaishnava society, or in the society in large. But what's interesting, Rupa Goswami was not at all happy with it. He said, we are here in Vrindavan. Vrindavan means you're a simple servant of Radha and Krishna, and we don't mind about this worldly scholarship and opinion of people. If you show pride in scholarship and defeating another scholar, then you don't have the mood of a Brijbasi, you're not belonging to Vrindavan, you should leave, get out of Vrindavan. And he banned his own disciple, Jiva, out of Vrindavan. And it's described that he went to the nearby Mathura, and for a whole year he did severe austerities. He He did a 1 year Mauna Vrata. He didn't spoke for a whole year. And then Sanatana Goswami kind of asked him, oh, you know, show some mercy to your disciple, Jiva Goswami. And after 1 year, they called him back. And then, when back in Vrindavan, then Jiva Goswami started to write. And actually, Jiva Goswami is known as having personally written more than 400,000 verses of scriptures. 400,000 verses handwritten on palm leaves. And his philosophical writings are so famous that in Benares Hindu University, they have an entire department only dedicated to his writings. And you know, Benares, Varanasi, this is the greatest city of learning in India. And Jiva Goswami actually is considered amongst, or even the greatest philosopher of India of all times. And he was a Gaudiya Vaishnava. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because sometimes if people see the Hare Krishnas on the street, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, they think these people are a little bit sentimental. But they don't know that behind this Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, now there is a tradition of learning, so much so that one of our teachers is recognized as the greatest scholar in India. Now we have such scriptures, such knowledge, philosophy, people are not aware. So Jiva Goswami was such a great personality, and of course some of his disciples, Narottam, and they had the first basically book distribution started from him. Anyhow, time is up. We are not going into all these details, but Jiva Goswami, you can find his samadhi in the compoundment of the Radha Damodar temple. And in Krishna Lila, Jiva Goswami is known as Vilasa Manjari. Srila Jiva Goswami ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vamana Devi ki Jai. Jiva Goswami ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Go Pranande. Hare Krishna. So have a wonderful Gaura Bhakta-vrinda ki Jai. Have a wonderful Vamana Dvadashi.
Krishna Premarupa Dasa.